NFL player Ray Rice has been suspended. We told you that earlier in the program, indefinitely from the NFL, and the Baltimore Ravens cut him today. The decisions came only hours after TMZ released this video. Take a look at it here. It reportedly shows Rice punching his wife, then fiance. In this video, now wife, in the face at an Atlantic City hotel. Originally, Rice received a 2-game suspension for the incident. Joining me now here in New York is Al Jazeera legal contributor Jamie Floyd. Jamie, great to see you. And criminal defense attorney Troy Slaten is with us in Los Angeles. Troy, good to see you. Appreciate your time. Jamie, let me start here because I think a lot of people are under the impression that prosecutors in Atlantic City, in New Jersey, didn't do a thing with this case, but that's not the case. Let me just read through this here. Rice avoided trial by pleading not guilty, right, to a third-degree aggravated assault charge and avoided jail time by entering a pre-intervention program for first-time offenders.
So he pleaded guilty to a lesser charge than he might have been convicted of had he gone to trial.
So was this case handled appropriately, first to Jamie and then to Troy, but was this case handled appropriately by the prosecutors?
Well, there is a sense that this was a celebrity justice case.
Okay.
But those of us who work in domestic violence cases know that this is a pretty typical disposition of this kind of case. Well, he had no record.
Right.
There is evidence that his then fiancee, now wife, was not going to testify against him. Now, the video could have been used. Prosecutors don't have to have the victim to pursue the case.
Right.
But without the victim on the stand, it's difficult to get a jury to convict. If he's willing to do treatment and counseling with his fiancée, soon-to-be wife, often prosecutors will think that's a better result than pushing him to trial and a continued relationship of violence in what is often a cyclical and symbiotic relationship.
Okay, and you've done some work in this area, so you can testify.
I worked in domestic violence shelters, and I also was a criminal defense attorney and had clients just like this one.
So, Troy, to your way of thinking, was this handled appropriately?
Absolutely. Prosecutors and judges bend over backwards in cases involving celebrities to make sure that there's not even the appearance that somebody's getting special treatment. And here, exactly as your other guest said, there is nothing that would be worse for a prosecutor than the star witness not agreeing to testify. And that's what we heard here. So, Troy, and without her testimony, they got nothing. So,
Troy, talk to me about how you present this kind of a case. The arguments you make to a prosecutor, to a judge in a courtroom when the video is this graphic. What kinds of arguments do you make for this kind of a treatment of a case and the fact that he's a first-time offender? And walk me through that a bit.
So I watched the video again and again before coming on today, and there's a few things that I noticed. First, now, let me just say, I don't want to get the nasty emails and letters.
Oh, you're going to get them anyway.
Get ready.
You're going to get them anyway, just by
saying
that.
There is never an excuse for domestic violence. Never, ever an excuse. However, we could see her walking, or rather stumbling, into the elevator on her way in. She has what we call an unsteady gait, which is a characteristic of somebody that's impaired by drugs or alcohol. We see her leaning on the elevator, getting in, and then when they're inside the elevator having the scuffle, it appears that she's coming at him. Now,
so you're setting up a self-defense claim.
I just want to say that it's good. It's good that this case never went to trial, because that would not win at trial. He popped her in the face and knocked her out. I'm sorry, I'm a criminal defense attorney, and I understand the need to defend the client, but anyone who is at home can take a look at the full run of the video.
Right.
And this is one of the and I think we have to presume someone innocent.
It's clear she comes at him, though.
She's at him, but there is no excuse for a football player to knock his wife out cold. The fact is, if you watch the entire run of the tape... But is a person supposed to cower? Are they supposed to hold up their hands? Yes, he's supposed to cower. He's supposed to cower. He knocked her out cold. If you watch the full run of the tape, innocent until proven guilty, the full run of the tape, he knocks her out cold and then proceeds to drag her out of the elevator. And I propose to you that he took that deal because he knew darn well, and I can't curse on national television.
Or you would at this moment.
He knew darn well that if that tape surfaced, he would be in for a long prison sentence.
You would try everything in your power not to have that tape entered before a grand jury. Maybe the grand jury saw it, but certainly...
And that's what he did, Tony.
Would you agree with that,
Well, the tape's coming in. Sure, I could yell and scream to try and not get that video in. The video's coming in.
Right.
I mean, but the video does speak for itself. And it does appear that it is a situation involving mutual combat.
So, Troy, let me ask you what your thoughts are on the decision by the NFL and the Baltimore Ravens today, the Ravens to cut him and the league to suspend Ray Rice indefinitely.
Well, those are two separate issues. With regard to the Ravens, I'm sure his contract has a moral and ethics clause.
Right.
He's to not do anything that would bring a negative light on the team or the NFL.
Right.
Now, with regard to the NFL, if they knew about what was in this video prior when they gave him the 2-game suspension and the fine, then it seems like that video coming out now shouldn't cause any additional punishment. And Roger Goodell has said they got it wrong, and they even changed their policy, the NFL, that is, on people that are convicted of or accused
Jamie gets
of
the last
domestic
word
violence.
here. Jamie.
I agree entirely with that last point. If they knew what they knew then, now, then I agree with Troy. But I do have to say one very, very important thing that we've not mentioned, and that is about domestic violence.
Please.
These are the hardest cases, I think Troy may agree, to defend, because you have a cycle of violence, not just in the relationship, and it's a symbiotic and destructive relationship. It recurs. I'm not saying it did in this case, but it recurs over and over again in most families, and not just in that relationship, but usually it's passed down from one family to the next. And we have a culture that accepts it. It's gotten better from the 80s to the 90s and now into the 21st century, but we have to start to talk about it.
For her part.
Troy got to go. Jamie got to go. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Very much.
Jamie Floyd, Troy Slaten in Los Angeles for us.